welcome to SinsightCrime. Today we dive into a chilling true crime story involving Niels Högel, a renowned doctor whose life took a dark turn. Niels' story is one of mystery, intrigue, and a series of events that have left both investigators and the public puzzled. Stay with us as we explore what really happened and uncover the hidden secrets surrounding this case. Nobody knew Death had a schedule. He looked like any other nurse, neat, polite, professional. But when Niels Högel walked into a hospital room, fate followed behind. In just a few years, hundreds of patients at German hospitals were dying mysteriously. No warning, no reason, just silence. But behind that silence was him. This is not just a story about a killer. It's a story about trust, power, and how one man played God with a syringe. Niels Högel was born in Wilhelmshaven, Germany in 1976. As a child, he was quiet, a little awkward, but nothing strange. People who knew him described him as average, normal. He eventually studied to become a nurse, a noble, respected profession. He began working at a hospital in Oldenburg. There, he quickly gained a reputation. He was efficient, calm under pressure. Some even said, "Oh, if something goes wrong, call Niels." They didn't know that something going wrong was often caused by him. It didn't take long for Niels Högel to gain a reputation in the hospital. He wasn't just any nurse. He was always there when patients were in critical condition, sometimes just in time to save their lives. But in reality, his help was something else entirely. For Niels, this was no longer about providing care. It was about control, the feeling of having life and death in his hands, the power to decide who would live and who would die. And as strange as it seems, the more he saved, the more people began to trust him. They thought he was a hero. But Niels Högel's saves were just part of a much darker pattern. In the background, he had already started claiming his first victims. At first, it was subtle. A patient here, another there. Their deaths didn't raise suspicion. After all, many of them were old, frail. It was easy to assume they had simply passed due to natural causes. But then, things began to change. Something was off. And by the time it became obvious, it was too late. He was a killer, hiding in plain sight. But Niels didn't stop. The more he killed, the more his actions became brazen. It was as if he was testing the limits of his power, testing to see how far he could push the boundaries of life and death. As months passed, more patients died mysteriously under his care, and yet no one questioned it. Until one day a nurse named Sandra noticed something odd. A patient she was caring for had suddenly deteriorated after Niels had been in the room. A strange smell filled the air, and the patient's vitals began to drop rapidly. Sandra immediately reported it, but the hospital dismissed her concerns. It was too late to stop the inevitable. The death toll climbed, and with every new patient that died, more whispers started circulating among the staff. The deaths weren't just coincidences, they were intentional. Niels Högel had become something far more dangerous, a serial killer, working from within the very system that should have protected his victims. The truth couldn't stay hidden forever. After years of unexplained deaths, hospital authorities began to take notice. It was in 2005 when a new nurse, Anna, joined the ward where Niels worked. She quickly became suspicious of his behavior. His overly calm demeanor in the face of death, the way he was always present when patients mysteriously collapsed. Anna started asking questions, and it didn't take long for others to start talking. Soon there were multiple reports of unexplained deaths, all with one common denominator: Niels Högel. An investigation was launched. The police began looking into the patients who had died under his care. It turned out the number of deaths was far higher than anyone had suspected, well over 300 victims across several hospitals in Germany. But it wasn't just his actions that shocked the investigators. What they found in his personal life was even more chilling. Niels had been collecting souvenirs from his victims, photographs, personal belongings. These were trophies of his twisted obsession with control and power. As the investigation deepened, Niels was finally confronted with the truth. And for the first time, he confessed to his crimes. But why did he do it? It was chilling, yet disturbingly simple. It was like a rush, he admitted. The adrenaline, the power, the control, it was intoxicating. Niels revealed that his desire wasn't just to kill, it was to manipulate life itself, to play the role of God, to decide who lived and who died. But what drove him to this point? What twisted psychology lay beneath the surface? Psychologists who examined Niels after his arrest were horrified by what they uncovered. They diagnosed him with antisocial personality disorder, a condition that allowed him to completely disregard the suffering of others. For Niels, his victims were nothing more than objects, pieces in a game he controlled. But even more terrifying was the lack of remorse. Despite the devastation he caused, Niels showed no signs of guilt or sorrow. He didn't see himself as a monster. To him, he was merely fulfilling a need, one that had started long before his nursing career. As a child, Niels had shown early signs of troubling behavior. He often tortured animals and displayed a lack of empathy. But it wasn't until he entered the hospital that his dark impulses found a stage. And it was there, within the sterile walls of the wards, that he began his reign of terror. But Niels Högel's story didn't just end with his confession. His trial was a media sensation, with millions around the world watching as a man who once seemed so innocent was revealed to be one of the deadliest serial killers in modern history. In 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of at least 85 victims, though some believe the true number could be much higher. For those who survived his deadly hands, their lives would never be the same. And for the families of those lost, justice would never fully heal the scars left behind. But there was one question that still haunted the victims' families. Why did he choose the path he did? What was the tipping point that transformed Niels Högel from a nurse to a murderer? It seems the answer lies within the darkest corners of the human psyche, where the line between hero and monster becomes dangerously thin. And so the story of Niels Högel serves as a stark reminder. There are monsters among us hiding in plain sight. Sometimes they wear the uniforms of those we trust the most. And sometimes the true horror isn't the act itself, but the chilling fact that they feel no remorse for it. As the last of the trial's dust settled, many wondered, how did Niels Högel's story go unnoticed for so long? How many other monsters might be lurking in places we trust the most? The world of medicine and healthcare was rocked to its core. Doctors, nurses, and staff members everywhere now question the systems meant to protect us. Niels Högel wasn't just a man who killed. He was a wake-up call, a reminder that evil can hide behind a facade of care, kindness, and professionalism. And while the families of the victims can never have their loved ones back, they will continue to raise their voices, fighting for justice, fighting for the truth. As for Niels, his legacy will forever be etched in history, a cautionary tale of how easily trust can be shattered, and how, even in the places we feel safest, there can be darkness waiting. The story of Niels Högel will be remembered for generations to come. A nightmare within the walls of a hospital. A nurse who wasn't there to heal, but to kill. Thank you for watching this episode of SinsightCrime. If you're fascinated by real crime stories, be sure to subscribe for more chilling tales. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next thrilling case. Until next time, stay safe and keep questioning the world around you.